good afternoon. Paint Girly here. Today, I'm starting a journal project. I've had this in my mind for a little while. And today's the day. I've cleaned up my working space a little bit. I've gathered a few supplies, and I'm going to get started. I am hoping to gut the book, show you how I do that, prepare some pages, pick out what I want for my signatures, and possibly get those stitched. Now, I had planned maybe to get those pages glued into the binding of the book, into the spine of the book, but I'm not sure that's going to happen because as I've been gathering my supplies, I'm thinking I might like the journal to be a little bigger than what this cover will allow me. So I'm going to see how that goes. I don't want the videos to be too terribly long. Of course, you can scrub through them and scan across and see where you might like to join in. Or if you're like me, you'd like to watch the whole entire thing because that's just what I like to do. But hopefully you'll learn a few things. And if you have any suggestions or ideas that I could incorporate in this project, please leave me a comment. All right, I'm going to get started. I was wanting to do a smaller journal with a vintage type theme, and I wanted to use a hardcover book as my book cover. And I was, oh, that's right, I was over at the shop in Medford, dropping off some of my greeting cards, and I was rummaging around up on their second and third floor, and I spied this little book. Now, I do have a small video about that haul on my channel, but I found this Mildred's Inheritance book, and when I flipped through, I mean, the size was perfect for what I was looking for. And when I flipped through, I like the weight of the pages, but then it also has some really great illustrations, which, you know, I can incorporate in my journal that I had in my mind. Now, I thought initially that whoever had scribbled around the tops of these pages, I thought it was some kind of pen, but it's pencil, and it does erase, not fabulously, but I'm trying a different eraser. So I thought, well, instead of going through and erasing all the pages, I'll wait to see which pages I'm actually going to use. So I'm going to try to get this out of the book, and then you'll notice that the book is really not that wide. And I want to be able to stuff it with ephemera. So I'm not sure this is going to work for me, but I'm going to gut the book and preserve the cover. And then once I get my signatures together, I'm going to see how that works. And then I may or may not take the spine off and rebuild the spine. The other idea is that I have is to cover this with material and decorate it. My theme is going to be vintage, but also the coloring of my theme is going to be like light pink, rosy colors, antique old looking pages, maybe some flowers, roses or different flowers, possibly a few birds. Just going to see how all that works out. And also when I was in Medford, I spied this music book. It's got great pages in it. So I'm thinking I'm going to use a few of these pages in my signatures, some regular paper, and then I had purchased some tea-dyed paper. So I'm going to incorporate some of this. And then I just went through my paper stash and pulled out paper that I thought might work. This I also showed in one of my hauls. This paper almost feels like linen. It's really different. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm sure it's just, you know, it's just a cheap tablet of paper. Let's see. I have that right behind me here. Like I say, I do have this on one of my haul videos. This is just, I got this, gosh, maybe a Tuesday morning. I don't even remember. 9 by 12. and it's for kids. But I thought I might try to incorporate some of that. Of course, I'll have to tea dye this. And then I just found some bits of paper, like I said, in my stash. I have no idea what tablets these are from. But for these, the coloring is good. I can ink these or tea dye them, and hopefully they'll work in this book. I kind of like that yellow bird, and I really liked this dotted. It's a pink on pink, and the dots have a little bit of a glitter to them. So I really like that. And then I like this too. Of course, lace will be involved, but I like that. Not so much well, I could use this too, but not so much the green, but I really like that lacy look on that paper. And that's also got a little bit of a sparkle to it. So these are some of the ideas I have for what I'm going to incorporate in the book. Now, I find that while I'm recording, my lights, my ring light in particular, really makes a shine on the video. So let me grab a piece of cardboard. I'll save the backs of all my paper tablets, and I want to try to cover up where those little shiny glares are. Okay, so you start out with your book. Now let me just make sure I'm in frame here, and I just have to manually bring my camera down and make an adjustment here. So the idea is to get the pages out of your book and determine, if you want to use the pages or how you want to use the pages determines on how neatly you take the book out and how much care you use. Ideally, in most cases, you're going to want to save the pages for the project you're working on or for future projects. And of course, in most cases, you probably want to keep the whole book cover intact. All right. So I just put a new blade in my little X-Acto knife. So I want to be very careful. I don't want to poke through my spine. So I may, as I said earlier, decide to take the spine off, but at this point, I'm going to leave it on. I don't want to poke any holes or mess it up. So you want to make sure you know where you're cutting. So you try to loosen up the book as much as you can. You also, if you wanted to, get a little dowel, or if you have a thin piece of wood or something that you can pop behind the book and kind of loosen that up, that will help. Now, I've watched several videos of a gal by the name of, her channel is called Ephemera's Vintage Garden, and her name is Debbie Ann. I think you would say it Perrant, but it's spelled like parent. And she's from Canada, and her journals are fabulous and beautiful. And she has quite a few videos. And like she said, you just want to loosen up that spine, and then just take your X-Acto knife, and you're just going to cut down through that little layer of paper. Let's see if I can get it on the camera so you can, it's like right here, and stay close to the book. Now, I said this is a new blade, but it's really not cutting through that. If you bend this cover back, then I'm just taking a very gentle swipe there, because I don't want to cut through that spine. And once that gets loosened up and that paper tears away, just taking, and of course you don't want to cut yourself either. So you just kind of loosen that up. And then when you can see what's what in there, you can kind of get the upside. Oh, I I'm going to try to get, there's a little bit of webbing here that's on the back of the book. So I'm gently just cutting through that little bit of webbing. Can you see? I don't know if you can, see if you can see that. Just a little little bit of webbing there. I'm just taking very gentle swipes. I don't want to go in too deep because I don't want to see it's stuff that looks like this. I don't know what that's called. So I'm just loosening that. I'm trying to do a better job of staying in frame while I watch back some of my videos. I tend to come towards myself and away from the, I should probably adjust the camera a little bit, but anywho. All right, so I've got the one side free. So then, of course, it makes it easier to get the second part of the book cover unhinged here. And I don't really want to tear it. I just want to take my time. Slice through that. Now the other thing I'm hoping is that I'm pretty sure that this book is stitched together. And I'm hoping if I pop the stitches that the pages are good enough where I can use them as they are. Here we go. All right, so now my book cover is free. And I'll trim some of this off depending on how I'm going to use this. And this is very flimsy here. So if I do use the cover as is, I'll have to maybe shore that up a little bit. But there's our cover. So I'm going to put that off to the side. And then I'm going to get rid of some of my crumblies here. And then see the best way to take the pages apart. You can almost see their signature. See, that looks like a signature there. So I'm going to go in and everywhere I see a little, it looks like a stitch, I'm going to slice that. It's starting to pull apart. I'm trying, I don't want to slice those pages because I want to be able to use them. Just kind of bend it back as much as you can. There's a little stitch right there. Let's see what we have. And I'm not worried about the pages staying in order. Of course, they're numbered. But these are nice, heavy. See, here's some stitching. These are really nice, heavy pages. A lot of times the older books are falling apart and the pages kind of disintegrate and you can't really use them. But these are great. And like I said, this is just pencil, so I should be able to erase most of that. So they look pretty good. And let me just see. I'm going to see if I can peel off this old glue and binding. And really, look, you can see all the signatures. Isn't that cool? I'm really excited to put this book together. All right, so I'm going to continue that process. And now, look, you can really see where those signatures are. And this should be quite easy from this point forward. As long as I don't slip and rip my page. So I think I'll be able to come in here and take out my little threads. They're the tiniest, thinnest threads. I just got some waxed linen to use to stitch my pages together. Of course, I don't know anything about size or millimeters, and it's not very thin stuff, but I think it'll work, but we'll see. But this is very thin. It would be nice to have thread this thin to stitch your book together. That little stitch won't come out. Cut that again. Yeah, so I think if I poke my own holes, I'm going to be able to use these pages to build my book on. Of course, like I said, some of them I'm going to use the images to decorate pages and make journaling cards. And I want to clean off all that hard, crusty old glue. Now, generally for me, I'm not an expert, and I'm really just somewhat new at this. I've only been doing journals, oh gosh, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, I guess. Well, of course, time flies, so it may be longer than that. So don't quote me on that. But I'm still learning lots of things. Of course, there's different ways to do everything, right? Everybody you have to find your own groove, really. Watch a lot of different artists, artisans, pick up tips from lots of different people, and then find what works for you. Kind of develop your own style. We all have our own tastes. I was thrilled when I saw this book, mostly because of the pictures. And then I was ordering some goods for my neighbor. She's 91, and she doesn't have a computer. And she needed something, so we just ordered from Walmart. And her order came, and I thought I had ordered her some cereal. The cereal wasn't there. Well, sometimes, not everything comes from the same place, so I thought perhaps it would come in a couple of days. So I went and checked the order details. There was no cereal. And at that time, I didn't even notice that her cart had said 4 items. She got 3 items. Didn't dawn on me. Well, she called me a couple of days ago, and she said, I just got another package in the mail, and it's a piece of material. I'm like, what? A piece of material? Here, I had been looking at material at Walmart, put it in my cart, forgot about it, and for whatever reason, I didn't hit the cereal button, but the material got ordered and was delivered to my neighbor. So it looks, I haven't picked it up yet. It looks really nice, but I'm thinking it's a pink floral duck cloth type of material. So that may end up being the cover for this book. We'll see. She read that poor Muffet had overtaxed her eyes. Now I'm going to put different size pages in the book. And I want to do some kind of pockets, of course, little tuck spots. I mean, if these pencil marks weren't on the book, this would be just so fabulous. I love these little images. I was using a little white eraser, but then I opened up one of my high polymer erasers, and this does seem to erase it better. Whoever did this, and for whatever reason, they really used a lot of pressure with their pencil. But see, that erases pretty good. I'm not sure that this will. So I'll have to go through and pick out pages where I can erase it, like around the number 28. Look how well that erased. But see, that one didn't erase so well. So we'll just have to see. So I think I started to say I like to put odd number of signatures in my books. Certainly I do more than one, unless it's a certain situation or a certain type of project. But generally I do more than one signature. And so I like to do 3 or 5. I generally don't do more than 5. Unless, of course, I make a mistake, which I recently did. I'm in the process of, what do they call it? Oh, goodness. They take the little golden books and alter. Unless I'm altering a book. Well, this isn't a golden book, but it's a Disney book about Cinderella, the Cinderella story. And I thought I had my pages all worked out. I just thought I was being so clever. Well, where do you see what I did? Right here. I wasn't thinking about how the signature goes together. See, your signature goes together like this. And then you have other pages sandwiched in between. So page 4 is connected to page, 9 or whatever. Okay. Well, I counted the pages and I laid them out the way that I wanted them, and I made sure I marked the page numbers on them so I knew what I was doing. But what happened was I didn't sandwich them correctly. I just laid them out the way the book was. So I had to make 9 signatures to keep the story intact while altering the book. There's a fix for everything, kids, a fix for everything. So at least the story's intact, and whoever might like to have this journal will be able to read the story in order. So this is in process. But I thought, oh gosh, you dope. So I'm hoping that was a lesson well learned, and I won't make that mistake again. All right. So I think I would like to make 3 signatures for this book. I also like to kind of mimic each signature as far as layout. Maybe 2 pages of this book, a page of the tea-stained paper. I'll have some of that, have one of that in each signature. Like I try to mimic decorated paper or specialty paper may not be exactly the same, but if I have a specialty paper in one signature, I try to have maybe not the same one, but specialty paper in both of the other signatures. That's just the way I do it. But you can do whatever you want because it's your book, your creation. So you lay it out the way you like. Now see this one? It was glued differently. So this one I won't be able to use as a signature because there'd be no way to, well, I could tape it, and put paper and repair it, but I have plenty of paper, so I'm not going to need to do that. So I'll use that in a different way. And this is table of contents and the front page. The other thing from watching different videos, I have come to like no more than 8 pages per signature. in most cases, and at least 4 in most cases. Now, of course, like I said, that Cinderella book is different because I had to lay it out so the story stayed intact. So some of those signatures only have a couple of pages of paper. But generally, I'll make them a little chubbier than just 1 or 2 sheets of paper. All right, so that works there. So if I'm going to do 3 signatures, let me check my list here. Okay, so I'm going to gut the book and prepare the pages. I'm going to choose cut paper, add in my specialty pages. All right, let's see if I can get that going here. So I want to pick out pages that are really in good shape. And see, I think I'm going to use that picture. I'll use that. And I forgot to advise folks that I'm streaming, so that was my phone. I apologize for the little ding ding. Now I have 3. And I only have 2. These pages, I just love them. So I'm going to use this page. I'll cut that out and I'll use that a different way. So I'm going to set that aside. But I have 2 pages here. Put my little X-Acto away so I'm not looking for that later. The inside of the book, inside the front cover, and the contents. I'd like to have a 3rd page that kind of resembles that look for my 3rd signature. Let's see, maybe there's something here I can use. We have the Cozy Corner series where it tells us about other books in this Cozy Corner. Maybe, well, there. It's a little wrinkled, but I think that will work. Let's see. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to go with 3 signatures. That's glued together. I'm going to put that aside. And I'll put that one aside. So I think I'm going to use this one. And I will use them, I think, in this order in the book. Now this I need to erase. I'm going to try to erase as I go. See how that works. Let's say here, Cozy Corner series, each 6, I guess, month, cloth decorative per volume, 60 cents. Love it. All right, so I've got those 3. I feel like my camera's getting moved over. I always tend to veer to my right. All right, so that one's going to go aside. Now I want to pick out and save my papers with images. So I've got 2 pages here that can be used. And I'm not too concerned about page numbers at this point. And I am more than likely will put pages together and then take pages out. And I like pages like this that have a blank part because that's great for journaling. But I want to save my images, so I'm going to put that aside. Another image. Let's see here. All right, so see how this erases. The thing is that when they press down, sometimes there's a little groove, but I can maybe put a little lace or something around that. All right. I should probably get my my kneadable eraser. That might take up that first layer. And then use, gosh, I wonder where I have that. I had a little piece of an kneadable eraser laying around here. But I was cleaning up, and when I clean up, then I can't find anything. I'm sure you'd never have that happen. Okay, so I think I want to put, these pages are a little further back, so I'm going to put this one. Let's see what this one, these are even further back. Okay. Erase here. And I just think erasing it now makes more sense because everything's flat. Once I start putting it together and building things, it might be a little more fiddly. And certainly you can make any kind of journal you want themed around anything. I have a retro one planned. I have my Cinderella. I have a Mickey Mouse. I'm trying to get a couple of them started so that once I get all the pages worked up and signatures stitched, I can then glue them all into the spines and have I tend to work more like in a assembly line kind of a fashion. All right, so I need 2 pages for this last journal, last signature. Another little, look how cute that is. It was the box that held the green kid shoes. Cute. Okay. It's another nice blank page. Let's use that one. I have little stamps that are frames, which might look cute around that, but I'm not sure that they're that big. I think they're a little smaller. I'll have to check that out. So I've got that. Now, I have a tablet that has, I don't know if it's more, well, that's nice paper. It's not very weighty, which wouldn't add too much bulk. This paper is probably, this almost feels like cardstock weight paper. This is probably at least 50, 60 pound paper. Let's see this one. What's the other? Oh, 2 photos on that one. Okay. Just looking for one more I really am curious what the purpose was of circling every title at the top of the page. All right. See, this is what I did incorrectly with the Cinderella. See, page 38 and 51 are joined together. Oh boy. Okay. So there I've got my 3 signatures started. And I've got extra pages off to the side. And I'm wondering if I can just move my camera that way a little bit. Might be a little helpful. All right. Now, I had started a book with some pages a little while ago, and I'm not sure these will work. But I might be able to cut some of them down. Let's just see if these will work. I think they will. So let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll take 1 for each signature. And of course, these will have to be trimmed. But definitely I'll be able to use those. Nice plain. Actually, if I cut them in half, they could be little half pages. And then I have some stitched. I wanted to do some stitching for this. Let me see. The original, that's pretty close. Let's see what I have in here. Now these I tea-dyed. And I wanted the pink seams. That's why I pulled these out. See if I have enough. Here's another pink. That will work. And here's another group. I don't throw hardly anything away, which is a blessing and a curse at times. Here's another sheet. The only thing I have to be careful about with using something like this is that I want to make sure I'm not punching a lot of extra holes in my signatures. So I want to kind of follow how these are laid out. But I think I can make this work. So this one doesn't have any lace on it. I'm going to put that in with my middle signature. I think I want this one for my first signature. And I'll put this in with the last bunch. And then I have more paper kind of bunched up. Or I can add what I did here. I didn't have enough to do 2 of that other pack, but see, I've got a couple here. You can see how quickly your signatures can bulk up. I'm definitely going to have to put a different spine. And let's see, I'll put this in the middle, this one in the front. Let's see what else I have here that I can use. Now, a lot of my other paper that I showed you earlier, I want to use to decorate. And these pages here are heavier. And I've got an Anne of Green Gables page here, but I don't want to mix the two books and stories. Now, I want to put in some type of bag. And I'm not sure what I have available. I know I don't have any glassine bags. So I may, let me move my camera up a little bit for this. I may need to, let's see, we'll go that way. I may need to build my own. I haven't ordered glassine bags, but I sure like how they look. Now these would work. It's just a little sandwich bag, a little paper sack. That might be cute. Let's see what else I have here. I know I want to use my little, I just saw them. They're like a little pocket. And I know I have that idea for the front. There's a little white bag. That's a little card. What did I do with my little... I know I slipped. Here we go. These little things. You can slip a little card. I have these in the craft color as well, but the white ones are right here. So let's pull those out of the stash. And I've got some old recipes that my neighbor gave me that were her mom's. But I like the way, see how that old tape looks? I gotta figure out how to make tape look old. I know there's videos on that. So I'm just gonna pull out a few snips from here that I think I can work into the book. While I see those, because then I'll forget I have them. And the rest of that stuff's not going to work. Okay. When I was at Tuesday morning, I saw, I really have my camera out of whack. Geez, I hope you just didn't see my whole back side. I'll have to edit that out. I don't usually buy little sticker books like this, but I was thinking some of this might look vintage enough where I could incorporate some things. I kind of like this and this. Now these are stickers, and I will put them on cardstock and then treat them that way because I really don't like the flat stickery look. these look. Those look like they might work with what's in my head. I like those little pink roses. I like that there, but I don't like it the shape of a head. They're sweet. Kind of like these. Not sure I'll be able to use those, but I'm going to pull them out. All right. So we got those. Got some of this stuff. Meanwhile, didn't get any glassine bags. Let's see. The idea is that you take a little lunch bag, glassine bag, or whatever you have. You know, the kind you get, it's like this. Well, this one's not glassine, but this is the shape. You know, if you go to a card store, or sometimes you'll buy a couple of cookies, they'll slip them in a little bag that's shaped like this. I really need to get some. But then you fold it and put it in your book as a signature, and then you use this as a pocket to store things. I just love it. So this is really kind of thick, but maybe we'll just do two, not one in each signature. You want to fold that real well. And then, of course, this part of the bag we have to do something with because you need an opening at each end. So let's see. Let me take this completely apart, see if I can get it completely apart without doing too much damage. Because if I get it flat, then I can cut it. It's pretty cute that way, but I don't want all that ripped and torn stuff. Of course, I folded it to go that way. And I'm not going to be able to tear that. So I'm going to get out my handy dandy new little paper trimmer, which I love. My little guillotine. Line that up, and I'm just going to trim that off. Got a little, well, that's really nice and sturdy paper there. So I'm going to trim that little chunk off, little chunka, and then I'm going to put a little circle cut. I like the way that looks, to make a little half moon shape on my bag. So I want that on the top side. And then when it's in the book, then this would be the top side. So I'm going to put one there as well. And for me, they don't have to be even with each other. The paper is very tough. I did not cut. Maybe I should have put another little piece of paper behind it. That might have worked a little better. All right, so there's one. I'm going to do two. And take that apart again. Now, if you had the other kind of bag, like I showed you from a card store, you just slice a little piece off the bottom. And I'm just taking that apart so that I can slice it, put it in my machine here flat. I want to get a nice little crease there. And I'm going to punch my hole again. Let's see if this makes a difference. I should have a little piece of scrap paper somewhere. This will work. Sorry if I make it crazy. This might punch a little neater if I put a piece of paper. And it did. Excellent. And then again, I'm going to do it over here. Now I'm going to list this when I get this built. If it turns out the way I like, I will list it in my Etsy shop. So I am more particular maybe than some may be, because I sell my things at shows and in my Etsy store and in a couple of shops around town. So sorry,
Call from Betty.
I didn't bury my phone.
Call from Betty.
So that'll work. Well, my dogs are going to cry because the phone was ringing. So we've got our two little bags, and I'm going to put one in my last signature and one in my first signature. Now I have a tablet of paper that I'm thinking about that may have some paper I can use that will go with what I have in my mind. Let me just see if I can grab that quickly. I didn't think to pull it out earlier. Because right now the pages are looking kind of plain. And this may not have anything in it, but I'm going to have a look through and see if I see anything that I think might work. That one might work. Looking for pinky, light, floral, vintage type paper. I didn't start all the way at the back either. The color of that one would work. I don't know. These keys might work. That's a possibility. Can't tell what that is. I'm not sure. Doesn't hurt to tear it out, right? This is why I don't know where any of my paper's from in my stash, because this is what I do. I go through and I pull things out, and I don't put it back with the right paper pack. This might work. It's a little deeper in color, but I could put it in and see how I like it. Of course, now my paper is going to slide on the floor. See, I love that. That's green, and that's what I just pulled out basically in the red. I just wish that was more pink than red. Oh, I just love green. Green's my favorite. And this is one of those pads that have a lot of paper in it. It's not really cardstock. See, now wouldn't that be nice if it had a pink background instead of that green? I don't think I want amphibian. A lot of times they'll have a couple different colors. See, that's too burgundy, I think. That would work, but well, these stamps might work. I'm only going to need 3 pages, and this is where I said they don't have to be exact, just the same type of page for me. I don't want cars. I don't. Now, see, that might work, but bugs. I don't want bugs. I don't think I want the dogs. Those girls are not old enough. They don't match what I have in the story. I thought this had more pinky background stuff in it. We might be back where we started. Yeah. Well, let's see what we have at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I'm going to go with the keys. All right, so I need to cut these down to work. And I want them the size of the original book pages. So let me do a measurement. So I need to cut that to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 9 5/8. Don't judge me. I need to write it down. Nine 5/8, because everything just goes through my head like a sieve. 9 5/8 by 7. I'm going to cut those 3 sheets. I've got my big cutter right behind me, but I've got to make sure I'm cutting it the right way. I get myself confused doing this all the time. And I don't have a lot of the either paper, so I want to make sure I cut it right the first time. So I want them to fold this way. So this is the 7. I need it to be 7 inches that way. Of course, I buried my cutter. And I didn't put in I might have to. I forgot I wanted to put this paper in as well. I put that in. That'd be narrower, but that would be okay. So I want some lined stuff in there. So this I would cut to 7 inches as well. All right, let's see. I'm going to unbury my big cutter here. I started straightening up, as I said, and I am making progress, but then I get to a point where, okay, enough of the cleaning. I need to do some work. So we said 7 inches. By 9 5/8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be there, give or take a smidge. And then I'm going to cut off this at 7 inches. Good. Now I want them to have a nice fold. And somewhere, oh, there it is. I have my little scoreboard. If you don't have a scoreboard and you're thinking about buying a scoreboard, I always recommend you get the big one, the 12 by 12. But it is nice to have the small one. But you can do a lot more with. I'm just going to go by my fold line here. At least I think I am. This is very thick, this guy here. Let me get something different. I'll use this. We'll use this guy. And so I folded it right there. But if you can have both, that's even better. Now, like I said, I want to stain these so they match the rest of the book. But I do want to work those in. And oh, look at that. See where this lines up. And we'll do this one here. 4.5. I'm getting a little hungry. How long have I been on here? Oh, geez, it's already been an hour. Gosh, time flies when I am having fun. So if you're thinking about following along or building a journal, as I build mine, you want to get your book cover. Got an old book laying around the house you don't need anymore. Take the pages out. And that would work. You don't need a book cover. You can use cardboard. You can use a cereal box. Get anything from Amazon. Cut up one of those boxes. And of course, you can use whatever color pages. Oh, look how terrible that is. Getting popular. Yeah, that's my hubby. So I'm going to have to go. I'm going to put these signatures together. I'll catch up on the next video. I got to get my phone, kids. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.